Welcome back, everyone, to Open Line. We have reestablished our Zoom with Chris Johnson, elder law attorney. I believe he's coming to us live via Zoom from Hendersonville in his home. Right. Is that Hendersonville?
Hendersonville.
Chris, thank you. Glad you're back. As you froze up last time, or the computer froze up, we were talking about liability. And Granger called in. He was concerned that there is talk about removing all liability in nursing homes. And I kind of talked about how that's been done right now in food processing plants. It hasn't been done yet in nursing homes, but there is that talk. And he asked your opinion about it. What is your opinion?
Well, and what I wanted to convey to Granger, because I understand his concern, and anyone, and I said any attorney that hears that, anyone that hears that would naturally raise their eyebrows and have concerns. And I think we all would to some extent. What needs to be kept in mind is that we also need to balance, and we can't have people, especially those taking care of our most vulnerable, afraid that if they come into work, they're going to get sued. And that's where you have this tension, and it's a natural tension, and it exists in lots of places in the world as far as, we want to make sure that accountability is established without having it go so far that people are afraid to act. And we can't allow that to happen, because at a nursing facility, if people are afraid to act, they won't show up to work, and we don't have the caregivers. And so it is a difficult question. I'm interested to see the legislation and see what the wording is and how our elected leaders end up crafting the legislation, and so we can review it. These are exceedingly difficult decisions. I don't envy them on that position. I think, like anything else, we all want accountability. At the same token, we also need these frontline workers, and it's very difficult. And I know Granger said something to the effect of, his concern is that it's the bad facilities where more people are passing away. And I would push back on that a little bit. I think a facility that might be poorly run is probably more susceptible to it. But the problem is your baseline is different than it ever has been. These are difficult circumstances, exceedingly difficult circumstances for even your best run facilities. This is hard. You have your most vulnerable segment of the population in a singular facility, and you are having caregivers that just by the essence of their jobs have to rotate in and out, which means they go to the outside world and come in. Keeping the disinfectant, keeping the food, the meals being prepared right, keeping all the services clean, that is an exceedingly tall order. And I know they are all striving to do their best. I do think Granger's probably right. I think some probably come closer to the mark than the others. But we have to make sure that we do give them room to be able to do their jobs, because their jobs are exceedingly important, probably more so now than ever.
Yeah, more so now than ever. They do need to be able to do their jobs, and at the same time, as Granger's saying, you want to be able to hold the bad actors accountable. So it will be very interesting to see the legislation when it comes out, if it comes out, how this moves going forward. But it's a good question and something we all need to watch. Thank you, Granger. Let's go to Pat. Hello, Pat. Pat, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Go right ahead. What's on your mind?
I'm a senior citizen. I'm 73 years old. I live by myself, okay? And if I have a hard time getting around right now, okay? And I don't have no family can help me when I get older. And I do not want to go to nursing home, because my mom was in nursing home, and I didn't like the way they treated her, okay? And I can't pay somebody to come in and take care of me. I don't grow that much. What do I do?
Okay, that's a great question. So here you don't have someone trying to take care of their mom. You have someone who wants to make sure they're taken care of. What do you recommend? A 73-year-old may not have family to fall back on. What does a 73-year-old need to be thinking about at this point?
Well, it's a fantastic question, and Pat, we appreciate you calling in. You are highlighting an ever-growing segment of our population that needs care, and we refer to them as the unsupported elders. And it's someone who's a senior citizen who may not have that family member network to rely upon, and it makes everything more difficult. And Pat, I cannot imagine how difficult these last few weeks, the last 2 months have been for you. And you have my heartfelt sympathy as you're trying to navigate all of this and navigate it on your own. What I would implore you is the first thing that you want to figure out is, am I safe in my environment? That is number one. We want to know what your care needs are, and then we want to make sure that your care needs are being met. Everything revolves around that. And so if your care needs are being met by paying someone, an in-home caregiver, to come help out around the house a few times a week, and that is working for you, that's fantastic. What is most important, and what some people can have a difficult time doing, is being honest with themselves in the mirror. I always joke, we talk about activities of daily living a lot in our world. Are you able to feed yourself, bathe yourself, toilet yourself, safely transfer and ambulate in your environment? There are these activities of daily living that we worry about. And sometimes, and able to dress yourself, it's tough to admit that I need help doing some of these things. And one of the examples I use with clients is, I joke, as far as, starting to need help with daily living, I need just a little bit of help. It was last year I got these glasses, and usually that gets a chuckle out of people. A dark restaurant with fine print menu is my kryptonite. And the reason I use that as an example, it's a silly example, but if you can see those little things where you need help in your daily lives, you'll catch the bigger things. And that's what Pat should focus on right now, is adequately assessing her needs and saying, okay, what do I need to keep myself safe and taken care of? And then what will happen is, from that will spring forth, where's the appropriate place for her to be residing? And then we want to look at the inevitable next question is, how am I going to pay for it? And obviously that would be a lot more detailed and a deeper dive. We'd have to know what the income is and what the resources are, and going through all of that. But it starts at the bare basic point: are my care needs being met?
Are my care needs being met? And that is a tough question. And then yes, it goes right into the financial. And so I don't know how to best ask this, but it's 73. What a nursing home, I've heard, can cost up to $8,000 a month. So what sort of financial level do you need at age 73 if you're going to start asking these questions? And what are some of the things you need to be thinking about financially at age 73?
Well, the first thing you're always going to do is look at your own resources. You're going to take a look at your income and see what your Social Security, maybe you have a small pension, maybe you have some RMDs from an IRA or other retirement account, and you're going to look at, okay, my income, what does my income get me to? And then you're trying to see, if it doesn't get me to, let's pick an assisted living facility, let's pick something that's kind of in the meaty part of the curve, not living at home, not all the way in a skilled nursing facility, but assisted living facility can run $4,000, $4,500 a month, and maybe you have $2,500 a month coming in, and so you have between a $1,500 and $2,000 a month shortfall. So we'll take the worst case scenario. Let's say you have a $2,000 a month shortfall. That's $24,000 a year. Then you're going to look at what your resources are and say, okay, what do I have on this trajectory? And then what we're going to look at is say, what other resources are out there? Were you a service member? Are you married to a service member? And so do we have the non-service connected pension with the VA? Or do we have a surviving spouse pension? Maybe we have a service connected claim with the VA. And so we can, for those that have served, we have veterans benefits. And then for people who are really financially strapped, and especially who are looking down the skilled nursing facility road, then we start to look at TennCare. And then it's looking at what their financial picture is now and how to transition them to the financial picture that'll qualify for TennCare. And there's a wise and prudent way of doing that, and there's a less wise way of doing that. And what you want to do is you want to consult with a professional, and when I'm professional, I mean an attorney, and you want to sit down with them and you want to say, this is my situation, and you want to look for an elder law attorney and a CELA elder law attorney. You want to have them go through what your care needs are, and where your support network is, what your backup plan is, and you want to make sure now that we have a plan to get you to the appropriate place of care that is sustainable.
There are a lot of people that leave money on the table, aren't there? There are a lot of people that don't realize they have a benefit, whether it's a veteran's benefit or that kind of thing. So that's the first place to look. And then I know that there's a lot of concern that once you start, you know, the look back, and people don't understand the look back, but that the nursing home could come after your home and that kind of thing. And I bet you answer a lot of questions about that, right?
We answer a lot of them, and with the look back period, and the people, I always say most people know just enough to be dangerous to themselves as far as what these rules are. They know a little bit, and a little bit of knowledge can be a dangerous thing if you don't know how to apply it properly. And so, I mean, I've seen the story where someone said, well, I put my home in a trust so I know it's protected. And it turns out they put it in a revocable trust, and it didn't do anything for them. And why? Because they went to someone who wasn't skilled, who wasn't practiced in this area of the law. And the rules are many, and they are detailed, and you need someone who can walk you through that. And the 5-year look back clock is that TennCare will penalize you for any transfer of assets for less than fair market value, i.e. gifts, for the last 5 years if and when you need to apply for TennCare. And so again, circling back to what we had said in the earlier segment, what this coronavirus, what is one of the things that is brought to the surface is the earlier you do your planning, the better everything will go. And so, you know, we have a old adage at the office, and it's when was the best time to plant a tree? And 20 years ago. When's the second best time? It's today. It is taking a look at things. It's never too late. You can come in, and there is always something that can be done. And what you need to do is bite the bullet and say, I am going to make this happen. Because oftentimes the biggest obstacle between making this happen and not making it happen is the person making that decision. Today is the day I'm going to get my affairs in order and get all of this done. And as soon as you do that, you are on a much better trajectory.
Yeah, I like that. All right, we have another call. I'm not sure if this is Miles. Is this Miles? Or is this Pat? There is no call. That's not Miles or Pat. So why don't we take a break? If you want to call in, there's the number, 615-737-PLUS, 615-737-7587. We will take a break. We want to hear from you. Share a circumstance, share a situation. We can all benefit from it. Talking with elder law attorney Chris Johnson. Take a break. Be back right after this.